everyone, and welcome to LearnCity. So we'll continue from where we stopped in our last class. But before that, what did we talk about in our last class? We're looking at the consequences of broadcasting unscrupulous ad, and we spoke about how the compensation amount that would be paid, that is fixed by the court of law, that is equal to the harm done by the person, to the wealth or to the health or to the life of the person, a compensation for moral damage, for all sorts of losses. And we also look at the bodies that regulate advertising in Nigeria under both general and sector specific laws. We made mention of the Nigerian Code of Advertising Practice. We looked at the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, APCON. We also looked at the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, FCCPA, and also the Standards Organization of Nigeria Act, SONA. We looked at the fact that Article 21 of the Advertising Code stipulates that all advertisements, except those for public service announcements, goodwill messages, obituaries, and vacancies, will be presented for vetting, while others will be presented for vetting and approval by the Advertising Standards Panel, where we're looking at the ASP before you can expose any form of advertising to the public. We also mentioned the fact that the certificate of approval will be liable to a minimum penalty of 500,000 naira. Now, the ASP recognizes that certain forms of advertisements may require submission of relevant self-regulatory organizations for clearance before they are presented to it for vetting. Now, in our class today, we'll be looking at the examples of such organizations. We have the CBN, the NAFDAC, NBC, and FCCPC. Now, the requirements for pre-approval of advertising materials are stipulated below. One of it is the formal application letter for vetting addressed to the registrar CEO of APCON. Another is the ASP form filled and duly signed by a registered advertising practitioner not below an associate member, stating his or her APCON registration number. Also, the product NAFDAC certificate or payment advice, when necessary, must be attached. Then the client's letter of authorization to advertise the product or service signed by an APCON registered practitioner. The material concept professionally produced in color must be submitted for approval before the issuance of the ASP certificate. Product samples of not less than 12 units must be supplied. Evidence of the product registration with the appropriate government agency. Demonstrations might be necessary in some cases, and advertisers of their agencies must be prepared to provide the demonstration. In monitoring the compliance of advertisements with laws and regulations, APCON's monitoring units, in addition to other services, utilize the services of media monitoring agencies. Now, members of the ASP and APCON also provide monitoring information, and the public also reports cases of unwholesome advertisements to APCON. APCON has also been able to curb some illegal and unapproved advertisements by monitoring advertisements. For instance, now, let's take a look at this. In 2018, APCON banned all alcohol advertisements on television from Guinness Nigerian PLC. Now, Guinness aired an advertisement outside the prescribed periods allowed by the Article 39 of the APCON Code of Advertising and Promotion Guidelines, which provides that advertisements for alcohol beverages must not be aired between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. on radio, and between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. on television. APCON also withdrew all certificates of approval issued to Guinness for advertisement of alcoholic beverages from 2012. Then later, the ban was lifted after compliance by Guinness. Now, the APCON rule already stated the fact that between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. on radio and between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. on television that nothing related to alcohol beverages should be aired. But Guinness flawed that particular rule, and the moment they began to comply to it, the ban was lifted. Now that brings us to the end of our class on advertisement communication. See you in the next class.